The American Academy of Pediatrics divides the transition to adulthood into 3 distinct phases: early, middle, and late adolescence. Because physical growth rates and internal hormone levels dictate this process, individuals move through these phases at completely different speeds. Early adolescence introduces rapid physical maturation. As a result, teenagers heavily focus their self-concept on their changing bodies and physical acceptability. This stage is also defined by intense conformity. The absolute worst-case scenario for an early adolescent is to be viewed by peers as different. The safety of childhood dependence is traded for an urgent, pressing need to be validated and accepted by the group. Moving into middle adolescence, new intellectual skills emerge, and social attention shifts towards opposite-sex peers. The drive for psychological independence accelerates here. Teenagers no longer view their parents' opinions as absolute facts, a realization that can lead to experimental or delinquent behavior. This excerpt from our source text outlines how, despite that friction, middle adolescence is a period oriented toward doing what is proper. Teenagers are developing behavioral maturity and learning to control their impulsiveness. By late adolescence, the need for peer approval significantly diminishes as teenagers make their final preparations for adult roles. During this final phase, they begin to crystallize their vocational goals and establish a highly solid, independent personal identity. What begins as a reliance on external peer groups successfully transitions into internal self-definition. Professor Robert Havikhurst identified a framework of specific developmental tasks required to reach that adult stage, beginning with adjusting to a completely new physical sense of self. Cognitively, teenagers must stop relying on concrete physical examples to solve problems and learn to understand and manipulate abstract concepts. Morally, they must evaluate the rules provided by their parents against the beliefs of their peers to forge a personal ideology. Looking at this section of the text, we see the requirement for an expanded verbal skill set. The limited language of childhood is no longer adequate to express the complex concepts demanded by adult roles. Emotionally, adolescents oscillate between wanting the safety of childhood dependence and demanding adult autonomy. This friction often manifests externally as hostility or a lack of cooperation. Together, these cognitive, moral, verbal, and emotional milestones dismantle childhood reliance and build adult competence. This final passage clarifies that adolescents do not complete these tasks one by one. They are often managing multiple developments simultaneously. The priority or centrality of any specific task simply shifts as the teenager matures from the early to late stages. Adolescence is a highly synchronized, multi-front transition, a complex period where overlapping developmental tasks continuously interact to reshape the individual into an adult. This material is provided by the IELTS FOCUS. For more resources, visit fb.com/the IELTS FOCUS or contact Zalo 0847 705 973.